So, namaste. Welcome to Satsang today. So, welcome if you're new to these teachings or new to awakening in general. You're very, very welcome here. And maybe you're even new to this word, satsang, which simply means to gather together in truth, to gather together in community. Sat being truth and sang coming from sangha, which means community or family. And there is perhaps no greater family than the family we meet along the pathway. And sometimes friends we meet, family members we meet along the path seem to be closer than our biological family. And satsang is important because really there's only one being here, and it's learning about itself, waking up to itself, recognizing itself. And it can do that so much faster and easier with less bumps in the road when we all share our experience, when we want to, and we can open up and share. And if we can listen to satsang with the understanding that even someone who seems to be asking a question that has really nothing to do with supposedly what's going on in our life, if we remember that that being is our own self, that question must be for us somewhere deep down. And also, every answer is also for everyone, myself included. No one learns more from satsang than me. And each day there's a deepening still going on here that will never stop. It will never um, halt because there is always an infinite expression of this silence, this presence, this infinite consciousness that we are. And in the manifestation, it is always in expansion. And one of the subjects that came up today a couple of times is this subject of desire in awakening. How do we work with desire? Are we even supposed to have desire in awakening? And it was a very confusing subject for me as I was really coming into a deeper understanding of who I am and a deeper experiential way of living as that. So um, I thought that I might talk about that. Hopefully, it will shed some light on at least my understanding of what's become clear, moving deeper into awakening. And desire can be a very difficult subject for a lot of us because, as a apparent separate person, we have become very skilled and adept at avoiding our desires, resisting them, suppressing them, not wanting to get in touch with them. When we think that we are a finite, limited being, rather than what is actually true, that we're infinite and unlimited, then our desires are often diminished by beliefs that we're holding on to. First of all, the idea that we believe that we are separate to the thing we want and separate to everything else. That's the biggest belief that stops us from really experiencing the life that we want. And if we feel that we're separate to what we want, whether that's a outer tangible thing such as a better job or more money or the right relationship that we want, or something more subtle like peace or more energy, more time that we might feel that we want, wherever we feel separate to it, we're going to notice generally the absence of what we want. And the very mode of being, of feeling like we're a separate self, is that we feel we have to get these things. We have to make our desires happen. And so we've all feel that we've tried very hard to make certain things show up in our life. Most of all, perhaps awakening itself. Certainly, there was a lot of imaginary efforting from an imaginary being here for quite some time towards this thing that I didn't even really understand what it was. Awakening, enlightenment, whatever, self-realization. And once we believe that we're a separate being, quite often on top of that, we really, really deeply feel unsafe. There are all these apparent other beings suddenly that seem to exist. Some of them seem to be in positions of authority and have power over us. And even if they're not, we still find ourselves constantly comparing ourselves, judging ourselves in relation to apparent others. And we also might not feel that we deserve the things that we want in our life. So much so that by the time we reach Satsang, we are usually completely suppressing all of our desires, except one, and that is this desire for awakening. Even that, though, is having to try to fulfill itself, this desire to see who we are through this lens, this idea that we are a separate person, a someone. How can we ever then come to real allowance of what we want with these beliefs in the way? And something really strange began to happen as my awakening deepened, and that was that all of a sudden, as this peace and contentment became really quite profound, these desires that had been suppressed by the separate sense of self, suddenly there was no suppression mechanism left. These desires would come really quite suddenly sometimes, intense desire for something. Perhaps after I was sitting, still feeling some remnant of loneliness, there was this deep desire for connection, intimacy, community, family, and experiencing lack of resources, a deep desire for more than enough resources. And in touching upon a little piece in my life, there was this incredibly strong desire that arose. I want that, and I want it all the time. I want to feel that way all the time. Peace, quietness, rest, to be so strong that no matter what negative emotion seemed to arise, whatever happened in my life, that there was something that was not affected, that was stable and clear. And then to add to this, there are quite a few teachings that state that we should not really have any desire. That the infinite self doesn't really have desire. There's nobody to desire anything and nothing to desire. Nothing separate to us. And of course, that is also true. The unmanifest, infinite consciousness could not want anything. What could it possibly want or need to experience? And yet, the paradoxical nature of who we really are is that if we ask ourselves this question, do I have any desires? We have to answer both yes and no. And that, as we said, the infinite unmanifest consciousness, there's no person to have any desire. There is no thing separate to that consciousness that could be desired. But when that consciousness takes the shape of a human being, and pretty much any living creature, there's the presence of desire. Manifestation moves by desire. If you watch a plant or a flower, it will naturally turn towards the light. If you turn it around away from the light, it will grow back. It wants the light. Desire is how manifestation expands. We're going to get more of something. And so maybe there's a different way to work with desire as an awakened being, as your awakening deepens, even before you have fully integrated what you've seen yourself to be, or it has integrated itself. You might begin to notice the presence of quite strong desires because you simply cannot hold them down anymore. Why do we suppress these desires? Because desire, for most of us, has become so synonymous with pain, emotional pain, of having experienced countless times as an apparent person, wanting something so badly and not getting it. Again and again, or wanting something, receiving it, and then having it disappear. Again and again and again. So much so that we have this total layer of suppression on top of these desires. If you've ever tried to hold a big beach ball full of air or a football under the water, you know how much energy that takes to do that. And the more you have of them, the harder it is to keep holding them down. And when awakening happens, there's no suppression mechanism, and up they come. How do we work with that then? Can we live in this paradox of I do and I don't have desire at the same time? Can we respect the way that the consciousness is showing up as a human being and respect that it moves by desire? Your manifested mind and body and energy and all of that is an expression of desire. The very fact you're sitting here in a human body is an expression of the desire of the consciousness to recognize itself. Only the human form can do that. Of course, only the human form can get really confused also about what it is. So can we move to a different way, an understanding that it's not a personal desire that's arising? And as these beliefs begin to fall away, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve this thing, we'll see that what we really want more than anything is to be free, to live free. We already are free, but to live as the consciousness itself. If we want this better job and more income, it's really because we want to feel more secure, which is how we'll feel when we realize who we are. If we want to find our soulmate, it's really because we want how it's going to feel inside when we find them. This deep and rich intimacy on every level of our being, which is really how it feels when you have recognized who you are. You begin to see that really everything we want because of how it would make us feel, even if it is for someone else. We'd like this thing to happen for someone else because we will also feel better when that thing arrives. So can we begin to embrace our desires as the infinite consciousness? These are desires of the consciousness. They're not personal. and they're going to find a way to manifest. We might as well stop resisting them, right? None of us would be here in Satsang if we didn't have this intense desire to wake up to truth. There are many more things you could be doing with your time than attending this Satsang. Something keeps bringing us back, and it is the intensity of our desire. We could also call it devotion when we're talking about desire for truth. So, how do we work with desires from the infinite self? How is that process unfolding? Well, firstly, to realize that the reason that we haven't gotten what we wanted as a separate being is because we thought we had to make it happen. That my desire arises, and then I have to go into some kind of action to make it happen. As a sense of a person that has to do these things. And as the infinite consciousness, the presence, our role is much simpler than this. First of all, we have to be willing to feel our desire, to really feel it. When it comes up, usually at first it is mixed with some kind of negative emotion because we've suppressed this energy. The more you suppress an energy, the lower frequency you're pushing it into. But as you begin to allow this to rise up inside of you, move through your body as much as you can right now, this desire, it becomes this very powerful, fast-moving energy. And if you feel it, just feeling it, that's it. That's your job done. Maybe if there is some sadness, some fear, or some anger with it, maybe we can look at the belief behind that. A belief mixed into the desire that I can't get what I want, or that I don't deserve it, or it's not safe to have it. So, shifting from I have this desire and I have to make it happen to this desire is evidence that it's already in manifestation, already beginning to manifest. The desire itself is a subtle form of the manifestation, thoughts, energy, and how we feel about that desire is the next step. If we feel good about our desire, it's going to show up as we've asked for it, or usually something much, much better. If we feel bad about that desire, we're usually going to get more of what we don't want. So simply to feel the desire and check how we feel about it. What's the emotion? Desire in its purest form, without any inhibiting beliefs of separation or unworthiness, etc., should feel exhilarating. It should begin to feel that the process of feeling a desire is enough in itself. The way you feel when you're really being with the desire in its fullness, without any ideas in the way, is fulfillment itself. There's a deep knowing that this is the process of life. This is how life moves towards more. It's always in seeming expansion in the manifestation. More, more, more. More awakening in Satsang. More abundance in the outer resources. More abundance in the inner resources of peace, etc. So, can we shift how we work with desire? The desire is a function of the universe, of the cosmos, and not anything that I have to make happen. Yes, if my body needs to make some phone calls or send some emails or do some action, it will do those, but it will feel joyful, delightful. But if we could apply this to our awakening too, that simply to really, really, really feel the desire to rest in the truth effortlessly, continuously, and not add anything to the end of that. How do I make that happen, to not go into um, forward motion of the seeker afterwards? What if feeling the desire was enough? Have you ever really just let yourself want this without trying to talk yourself out of it or into it? How do I make this happen? For me, this changed everything. A whole host of desires began to come rushing to the surface to want to be felt and seen and met. And there was this very strange period in my life where everything I ever wanted and actually had forgotten even some things that I wanted began to show up. Simply the process of the recognition that desire is natural in manifestation. And if we realize that they're not personal desires, we can begin to feel that we're able to allow them they just simply want a human body to feel them, these desires. How does it shift your experience right now if you realize that your desire for awakening is not coming from a person, it's coming from the infinite consciousness wanting to recognize itself? That has a deeply different resonance inside. If I'm a someone and I'm desperately trying to wake up, it's caught up in all kinds of reasons why it can't happen. The very fact that you want this thing means it must be happening, in fact. It must be coming. And our desires become the advertisement for what's coming next. And your desire will never stop growing. Every time you receive something that you've asked for, your desire will get bigger because your recognition of what is possible for you will get bigger. What can limit you in your expression and manifestation? Mostly, we hit this wall when I ask people what their desires are, they really don't know because we've spent so long avoiding them. Or we might say, there's nothing that I really want. But if we're all honest, there are things that we want if we get in touch with that deeper inside. Even to want to wake up to the truth is, of course, a desire. So, can we connect again with our desires, recognizing that they don't have to feel painful when you know who you are, and that they have to manifest when you know who you are? Have to. There's no other option. For me, it took some real courage to be willing to feel this desire. There was something inside that said, and it doesn't matter what desire it was, I encountered this with everything. I really don't want to feel this because what if it doesn't come? What if it doesn't actually show up? And then I'll just be left and I'll be hurt again, and I can't take one more hurt. Have you ever felt like that as a person? I'm sure we all have many times. I just can't do it again. But from the understanding and the seeing of who we really are, it is totally safe to embrace those desires. Knowing that there is no person, there could be no selfish desires that begin to go wrong. We can trust our desire. It's coming from the purest place of all. So all of this is really just to urge you to really reconnect with what you want. We're going to have these desires, so we might as well embrace them. The reason we all take this next breath that we take whenever we take it right now is for a desire to continue experiencing this. You literally cannot get away from desire. Even the word desire, the root of the word desire, you might know I'm a word nerd. I love understanding the etymology and the meaning and where the word came from, where words come from. This word desire means to give birth to something in its root. The desire is going to give birth to something if we consciously work with this process. Imagine what difference you can make in your own life and that of others around you. Knowing that what you want is not a desire from a someone. It's not your desire. It is just desire. So I hope I have convinced you to connect again with this longing of the heart. You want what you want for a good reason. And if you don't know what that is that you want, you can simply ask, what do I actually want? And we can all begin with how we want to feel. We know how we want to feel. None of us would be here in Satsang if I said, you can wake up to the truth, but you'll feel miserable for the rest of your life. It'd be the quickest Satsang ever. We all want to feel good, and we want to feel good effortlessly, continuously. So start with that and let life fill in the details of how that's going to reflect back to you. It's totally okay to have desire. Every being that has changed this planet has acted on their strongest desires. And that means you. Whatever it is that you want. Some people feel a strong desire to work with animals and help animals. Some to feed the homeless. Some to build hospitals, libraries. It's fairly obvious, hopefully, what my desire, how that's showing up this body. And touching onto what it is that you want. At first, your desires might seem personal. I want more money so I don't have to worry about money. I want to do something for work that I actually enjoy. I mean, that's all well and good. Those things will be quickly satisfied if you work with desire. Then your desire will begin to, what do you want when you have the resources you need? What then? So just embracing a new way of working with this. What will you give birth to? So maybe take some time after this satsang and just sit there with a piece of paper and a pen and write down what you want. What if that was enough for the process to occur? And then when you feel this desire, can you give it permission to be there? If it's 50%, I can feel it a little bit. That's okay. Just do that for today. And next time it will be 75%. So hope I have inspired you to connect with something that perhaps we shut off a long time ago. Out of necessity, because we didn't know how to deal with it then, but now we can. Okay. So I will open it up for questions. Also, we have live Spanish translation here this evening as well. So if you're part of our Spanish community and like to ask a question, you're more than welcome. We'll start with Amna or Abdullah, not sure which, or maybe both.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, it's me. Thank you, Helen. To be honest, I feel miserable now. And I want just to share my experience the last few days, especially after retreat. I it feels like something want to come up, but I don't know what is it exactly. I'm so afraid, and anger is also coming up. It's like shouting that. Um, it's like I hear my father voice shouting, "No!" Like it's like when you want to do something and then your parents shouting at you, "No, don't do that." That's the sort of voice that I keep hearing every day in my voice and in my head, screaming, screaming. Anything coming up inside me, inside my mind, um, then the emotion come, anger. I don't know. I feel confused. I'm
But
not
what
sure
does the
what I
no
want.
say? What does the no say? Why no? Ask the no why it's saying no. Take your time and just feel into that. Why no?
Even that question is triggering me. Anger is coming up.
Yeah.
Like,
Is there
like
anything wrong with anger coming?
no, but I'm angry because I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Do you have to know? Why could you just not be angry? Let's just be angry. Right here with me now. Let's be angry together. Can you give it permission to exist?
Uh, I can't. I'm afraid, to be honest. I'm afraid to be angry.
So let's ask why. Why are we afraid to be angry?
I don't know. I don't want to bother anyone or to annoy anyone.
I think that nobody's going to be annoyed if you're angry. I think we'll all just be feeling quite grateful that you've managed to feel this. Can you see that this idea that anger is a damaging energy is inside you, that I should not feel it because it will upset or annoy or hurt people?
Can you mute?
There we go. Better. Just tell me if you're going to scream really loud. I'll turn my speaker.
Okay, I'll just mute myself.
That might work too. Yeah. But if we can't feel anger here in satsang together, then really, what are we here for? This is about authenticity, right?
Yeah.
I've never met anyone who wasn't scared of anger at first. It was the same for me. I was terrified of it. I had only experienced it as being very destructive and destructive in my relationships. It would just explode because I wasn't really allowing it. It would just burst out the sides like a volcano erupting, and you did not want to be in the way then. I had to make friends with anger again, realize I'd only experienced my thoughts and judgments about anger, that it's not a safe thing to do, to feel. I had never actually met it. Shall we actually ask what it is? We could ask together what anger is.
It's like I can't speak if I speak.
It's okay.
Wow.
We can sit here together. I'm in no rush.
It's like I'm angry and also I'm sad because I can't be angry. I don't know.
Do you think that the anger is a defense against feeling sad?
I don't. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. No.
Just let's ask this question inside, and you don't have to
Me.
verbalize it. Just listen to me asking, yeah? What is anger? I really would like to know what it is. Ask this question inside as I'm asking, yeah? What is this anger? And anyone that is struggling with anger also here can ask this question. What is anger made of? Asking this question inside. What is anger made of?
What is anger made of?
Yeah. Like we've never really met it and we want to know what it is. What is it made of? What is anger?
What is anger? Ah, 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 mm,
How are you feeling now?
uh, better,
Yeah. Keep
better.
asking. Keep asking.
I feel. Yeah.
I'm going to give you a special mantra now. Are you ready for a special mantra?
I feel expansion.
Yeah.
Also, my body is shaking.
You want to do this mantra with me?
Yes, yes,
You
yes.
say it out loud after I say it, right? Are you ready?
No.
Ha, ha,
Ha,
ha,
ha,
ha,
ha,
ha,
ha,
ha,
ha,
ha.
ha, 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 ha,
There you go.
ha, ha, ha.
I want you to stay with this question and the mantra whenever you need it. It helps the body relax.
Ha.
As we move on to the next person, you stay with this question. What is anger?
Okay,
Yeah?
okay.
And you don't let this question go until you can tell me what it's made of. Yeah?
And why I also feel that crying. What is anger? And it's like also the desire to cry.
Yeah. It's okay, right?
Yeah.
Anger is many things. It might be desire to cry, shaking, shouting, all of those. It's fine. But I want you to stay curious. I want you to stay open to see.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being so brave.
Thank you so much.
We all love you.
Thank you.
So we will move on to Pauline.
Hello, Helen.
Hi, love.
So, desire. This, it's not a thing of the personal self, but it does involve the idea of separation. So, a couple of days ago, I was with, let's say, a family of in-laws, extended family, and their dog um, had a stroke. And there was so much fear and the family dynamics going on. And I have no fear of death. I haven't had for a long time. But I could feel that in the presence, and there was this very. I knew that by being peaceful, I was helping. In fact, that was even acknowledged afterwards, much to my surprise. But it was that a feeling of really longing to share with them this understanding that there's nothing to fear,
Mm.
and not. And I don't know if it was just. It did not seem appropriate. I mean, and that again, it's a judge. It feels like a judgment that they would not accept it, but it didn't feel appropriate. And I that is something. It seems to be a mental problem because when I'm in a situation, it tends to resolve itself. But it came back as well, that feeling of. Um, I mean, you do so much and you deal with all these people all the time who have so many
I
problems. And
don't
I
deal
think,
with any people.
well, you don't deal, okay, you don't deal.
Otherwise, I'd be in a mess.
Yeah,
But
okay.
I
So,
know, sorry, I know what you mean. Go ahead.
you do. So, can you just speak to that a little? I feel you recognize the dilemma.
You think that what you wanted was to explain to them the truth, right?
Yes, there's nothing, they didn't have to be afraid and feel, yeah,
But what you really wanted is for them to feel better.
yes.
If you're
So I
honest
want
in that,
to,
right? What you
okay.
really wanted, even more direct than having explained the truth. The reason
Mm,
for doing that would be to help them feel better.
mm. Which would be for me to feel better.
Yep. You've seen this Satsang before, hey?
Yeah, but they are me as well. So,
So
so
what's going to happen in that moment if you work on, even work is too strong a word, but feeling better within yourself? Meaning in that moment, whatever that looks like, it's okay that I want to tell them. It's also
mhm,
okay that they probably don't want to hear,
mhm.
right?
Right.
Strong desire for them to feel better, and I might have a very effective way of making that happen, but right now it's not going to be received.
Mm,
So as you settle into that inside yourself, come to peace with that. Of course, I'm going to want to share something that is a profound answer to suffering, of course. And of course, they're not going to want to hear it right now, most likely. Can you feel some acceptance in that?
I can, yes.
Usually, what we do is
And
we
says,
judge
why
that.
not?
Yeah, well,
Why don't they want to
usually
hear it?
that judgment of why not is a
Yeah,
reflection of our own inner judgment. Why can't I just let them be as they are?
yeah, yes, yeah.
What happens if you drop that judgment inside? Maybe I just can't let them be as they are right now. Maybe a strong desire is coming for them to feel better.
Mhm.
Can you feel some release inside when you really accept that you can't accept?
Yes, yes, I most certainly can. And it's one of those things that seems to get lighter and lighter as time goes on. I was just quite surprised at the strength. I suppose, the immediacy of the suffering right there in a familial.
Yeah.
Um,
So you can go through this whole process of I want them to feel better. Why won't they receive it? Why do I still want them to, even though they won't? And then a realization what I actually want is for me to feel better, because when they feel better, I'll feel better. Instead of going all around this thought loop, we can just realize what I actually want is to feel better.
Mhm.
And I can work on that silently inside while they're experiencing whatever they're experiencing. And then and only then do they have any chance of when you're what we're in effect saying is, I want you to feel better and I'm going to torment myself to try to make that happen.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
By
I
judging
love it.
myself and blaming myself, somehow that's going to help you. That's what we're silently saying somehow.
Yes.
The awakened being kind of has the courage to feel good, even in situations like that. And of course, you wouldn't express it in an outer way. There'd be a very compassionate response, appropriate response. But it's okay to be okay, isn't it? Even while someone else isn't feeling that way.
Yes. Yeah. And it is that way. And yet something says, and that's probably just the mind, says, but that's you. That is also you that is suffering. Uh,
If, if there's no separate being,
yeah.
then when you begin to feel good, guess what's going to happen in the rest of the room?
Okay. Yeah.
If you don't separate in your thoughts from those other beings, if you don't think about them, you just let them experience what they're experiencing. And of course, your body may move to comfort someone, or but inside you're offering non-resistance to what is, and you begin to feel better yourself. That has to have an effect to some degree, to whatever degree each body mind is open to receive that. You can feel it when you're around an awakened being. They refuse to feel sad, even when you're sad. And it's very hard to hold on to feeling sad after a while, right?
No, absolutely. That's so true. And as I say, it's much more of a mind problem than the actual experience was of peace and of spreading love. But the mind afterwards says da 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 and starts its commentary. But that's, yeah, thank you. That's,
Because it's trying to understand how feeling good can help someone. Like, what if that's the best thing you can do to help someone? Yeah.
that, thank you. That's not, yeah, how very satisfying that the one thing I want to feel is the best way to help everyone.
Any authentic solution is always a win-win.
Yes.
It has to be, you know?
Thank
Wonderful.
you.
Thank you. Okay. We'll go to Fern next.
Oh, hi, Helen. This
Hi,
has
love.
been great. Oh my gosh, what a revelation that desire, it's okay to have desire. I've lived on Buddha's statement.
You've muted yourself there, love, accidentally. There we go.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. What a revelation I said that it's okay to have desire because, just, Buddha's statement, desire is the root of suffering. And the way that you explained it was fabulous, that it's not the individual, it's the infinite being that has that desire. And so, I mean, everything that you've shared so far with everyone that's had the conversation with you has been really helpful too. And so the situation so my desire then is to be unaffected by the external discords. And I think I've got beyond needing anyone else to change in order for me to be happy. So that the desire is just simply being okay with whatever is happening. And I heard you say, and it's not the first time I've heard it, but I heard you say on one of the recordings that I listened to that, my consciousness is going to get mirrored back to me. So what I really want to know is what am I holding in my consciousness that is continually bringing this situation in my household um, into my awareness through another person's behavior. And as I said, not needing them to change, knowing that, well, at least intellectually, knowing that we're one, but just wanting to be okay with it.
So what is the emotion that comes up when this happens inside you? What is the emotion that you feel?
I would say it's more frustration, annoyance. Oh, not again, right? Sort of that not again type of
Here
a
we go
feeling.
again. Here we go again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what is the tiny small voice that comes with that emotion? If you separate it momentarily, the thing that's going on in the household is a reflection of this emotion, which is a reflection of some idea underneath. So fear might say to us, for example, that I'm not safe.
Well,
Anger,
when I invest, yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
go
Yeah.
ahead.
When I investigated that belief, having watched some of your other videos and looking at the emotion to see if I could find the belief, the closest that I could get was that I'm oh, what's the word? I keep forgetting. I'm helpless.
Yeah, powerless, helpless. Yeah.
Helpless to do anything about this. And so that helpless and
This
um
angry resignation every time it kind of happens, right? It's like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah, not even so much the anger, but just really wanting to know what the hell am I holding on to that is continuing to outpicture this in my life,
but
or
this
even, yeah,
belief in being powerless, helpless. For most people, we can carry that our entire lives and it isn't really a problem. But as you wake up and see who you really are more and more, you're already awake enough that this is really an issue now for you. This idea is so opposite that you're helpless. It's so opposite to what's actually true. Let's ask this question together now. Should we do some contemplation?
sure.
Yeah. So let's turn this into a question. Is it really true that I'm helpless? And we're just open to all of the answers that come, both inside and outside. If a dog barks outside, car passes by, your stomach rumbles, thoughts, emotions, it's all valid. There's no right or wrong answer. If you want to, just share with us what answers are
Yeah,
coming.
it feels like it. It feels like I'm
So
helpless.
there's a yes, this is true. But whatever answer we receive, we just come back to the question, is it really true that I'm helpless?
Deep breath.
Yeah. Another answer from the body. And just gently always coming back. Is this really true? I'm helpless. Not trying to make anything happen. We're just kind of sitting together with this question, seeing what happens.
More of an mind answer. I'm okay.
Yeah, that's a valid answer too. Thought answers, mind answers. Is it really true that I'm helpless?
So I guess the difficulty I'm having is that when it's not happening, I'm totally fine.
It's
I'm
okay.
not feeling the helplessness.
It still works even to ask when it's not keyed in, like, triggered in that moment. Yeah. Is it really true I'm helpless?
If anything, there might be just sort of like a more of a dense energy in the chest.
So a kind of a sensation answer, an energy answer. Yeah.
Hmm.
Just coming back to the question again.
Yeah. About to yawn.
Yeah. A yawn from the body. It's quite often a way that the body relaxes and releases something.
Yeah, it's a big one for me. Yeah.
I spent a whole day's yawning during my awakening.
Yeah.
Is it really true I'm helpless?
Feeling less true.
Yeah. There's a feeling answer. It's totally okay. Let's just stay with it for another minute or two. Is it really true I'm helpless?
Deep breath.
Yeah. Just relaxing with the question. We're not trying to achieve anything. We're just seeing what answers arise. Another yawn.
Not quite as trapped.
Yeah. Is it really true I'm helpless?
Noticing the door opening and closing.
Yeah.
Shake in the body.
Yeah. The body's just shaking the energy out, right? It's being stuck. As we hold this belief with such tightness, we don't realize we're holding it. The energy can't move. So the longer we ask this question, the more seemingly positive the answers are going to be. Eventually, we might even arrive at some understanding that, of course, it's not true. But even that isn't the goal here. The goal is that while we're asking this question, we can't be believing. We can't ask a question and believe the thought at the same time. We just need to do this probably 5-10 minutes if we can each day, like we've just done. And no answer is better than any other. Some of them feel nicer, of course, but just doing like we've just done. And somehow we forget how to believe this idea, and therefore it stops reflecting. And the wonderful thing is, because you're not a separate person, as you're working on letting go of this idea, it's also helping the other, apparent other being that's struggling with it. It will be in everyone's head in the household, this idea,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yes. Definitely feeling more joyful. Thank you, Helen.
Wonderful, wonderful. Just doing
Appreciate
this
it.
regularly each day for a little while, 30 days, until it's you really just can't believe it's at all.
Yeah, it's amazing. I actually did this exercise with a friend the other day who was having the exact same feeling. And in such a short period of time, he went to feeling very depressed to very excited and joyful. So it's so beautiful to it was nice to see that process with somebody else, and especially because they had the same issue. Right? Because we're one, right? So I'm gonna
Symptomatic of feeling like we're someone, a limited being, is to feel powerless, helpless, isn't it, really? And that manifests, reflects in so many ways in our life. Even about awakening, I just can't seem to make it happen. So wonderful. You did very, very well.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go to Idola. I'm saying that correctly? Idola? Yep. You're still muted there. There we go.
¿Ahora? Sí.
Ajá. Wonderful.
Hola,
Hola.
hola Helen, hola a todos. Wow, no sabía si me iban a tocar. Mm, Me viene primero la idea de que yo sí que deseo sentir paz. Yo deseo sentir permanentemente la paz que soy. Sí, es un deseo. Y sí se me oye, ¿verdad? Vale, ok.
Olga?
Bueno, yo quería compartir
Sec-
el espacio donde estoy ahora.
Olga, can you hear us?
Em, ¿Sí? ¿Me oís? Ah, vale.
I'm guessing, Olga, you
Mm,
can't.
¿Me decís si sigo hablando o no?
1 second, sorry. Olga, we can't hear you. for translation. Not sure why that isn't working. Nobody else can hear Olga too, right? Nope. I'm really sorry. We're going to have to come back to you. Hopefully we can sort out the issue with the translation at some point.
De acuerdo.
Okay, sorry. We will go to ML.
Hi, Helen.
I love.
Okay, so I'm loving, first of all, I love how everyone's doing everything for everyone. It's always the same, and it's beautiful to share.
Mm.
I think my question is about what's really gonna get to the root of me uh no longer talking to myself. It's like I've seen it so many times. Like I'm not talking to anyone in my head, and then and it's so spacious and free and wonderful and blissful, and then it just, keeps right back at it. So yeah, is it just about repetition of constantly seeing it and seeing it and seeing it and stopping? Or is there something else I'm missing?
So just to be clear, you have begun to see that there's no person there, but there's this commentary going on in your head, right? And you're wondering, why is that still happening if you've seen that there's nobody there to talk to?
Yeah, and I wouldn't say begun. I would say it's many, many years of seeing it and then having these beautiful awakenings and just such beautiful openings, and then there's still some root of like believing these stories.
So let's double check and see right now together that we can't find anyone believing these stories. Have a look and see, just again here one more time. What do you find when you look for yourself?
Peace and spaciousness.
Any person in there?
No,
Any person in there that needs the mind to stop talking?
no,
Do you need the mind to stop talking?
no,
And I'm going to ask you a few more strange questions if that's okay.
please.
Where are you?
Everywhere.
So, which head are you talking about then? How many heads do you have?
Don't know.
Can you see that for this problem to come up, you have to focus back on one head, one body only?
Yes.
And so we keep seeing that we're everywhere and indivisible. And then we keep dividing ourselves. And a problem seems to arise as soon as we imaginarily divide ourselves. Then some problem seems to arise immediately. But the real issue is not about the mind. It's about the fact that you see yourself to be infinite and expansive. But then you keep looking at one body and mind and going, why is the head still talking? This one here. right?
Exactly.
So, can you ever fix a problem like that?
No.
So what you can do then is if you see, prove to yourself again, I'm formless, I'm everywhere. And I refuse to entertain any problems that come from one body and mind only. They can simply be discarded at this point. Not the body and mind, but the problems. Any problem that you think you have that comes from one body and mind, is it in truth or is it illusion?
Illusion.
Can you feel something is letting go from seeing this?
I mean, yeah, it just feels so good. This is if I don't go into time, it's just now. But if I do go into time and thought, it's like, well, I've done this so many times and it's wonderful. And then I go right back into believing.
Do you go right back into believing? Let's check again. Who are you? What are you?
Everything, spaciousness.
And if you're looking from everywhere, how can you tell what's happening in one body and mind?
I don't know.
You only imagine that you can, right?
Yeah, it's all imagination.
In fact, it's not even about the mind, it's about the very thought that I can divide myself into just an infinite number of bodies and minds and only focus on this one.
Yeah, it's all
Anything,
thought.
yeah, anything that happens after that is going to be in delusion, right?
Yep.
So don't do that in thought. Or when it does happen, go, that's not my issue. I'm literally not going to play with it. I had this
Yeah.
point where I began to see that I have no location or I am in all locations. And every time a problem came up, it always involved me being in just one place, having a location. And I began to see I'm not playing with those because it's endless. The mind is certain that I'm in one place only and will keep giving me problems. If I keep imagining that I can be in one place only, it will go on forever. It's not your issue, this, is it?
Like I have I think I have an imagination that you don't experience inner dialoguing. So there might be thoughts, but you're
Right now, are you experiencing it?
not right now.
Because when you see that this isn't your problem, the problem disappears.
Right.
Because you didn't try to fix it, it went away.
Yeah, it's just the seeing.
Because you realized you can't fix this. This is nothing to do with you.
Okay, so even though it feels like the reason I'm having the dialogue is because I'm investing in it, it feels like my attention goes there instead of on the formlessness.
Which body and mind are we talking about here? Out of the 8.5 billion human bodies that you're currently appearing as, you have to pick one, right, for this to be real.
Hmm.
Are you excited by this?
I am excited.
Me too.
Yeah, it's so makes so much sense, and yet like my mind, my mind has no clue. But it
It
makes
never
sense.
will. But you can see I have no location. I'm not going to play with any problems that come from a location, which, by the way, is all of them, all problems.
Well, and then I guess it's just, if we're really being honest, anytime we have a dialogue with other humans, like me and you right now,
There's
there
no
is,
dialogue now.
okay.
There's a monologue.
Okay,
You're
yes, I love
talking, you're talking to yourself right now, right?
that. Right.
Entertaining
How I've
yourself.
always felt, but then there's some subtle belief that it's like there's a me and there's a you, and It
And
requires
which head are you pointing to now to go back to this problem?
the no head.
So be headless, right? Or you have to be all of the heads, all of them. You can't just pick one anymore.
I love that so much.
So you sort your problems based on whether they involve only one body and mind. And if they do, you don't need to fix it. You can't fix it. You watch what
Okay,
happens. When you do that for even 24 hours, you will be amazed at what happens.
it's happened and it's the best. I mean, it's lasted for several days and then
So
whatever conditioning.
be on the lookout now. What is that one imaginary problem that gets you to scratch the itch? What is it? How do I keep this? How do I stay established in truth? And there's probably a list of them, right? Oh, I need to fix that one.
It's always safety. It's always survival safety.
Yeah, so just applying the same thing to it. If I am omnipresent and indivisible, is this my problem?
Yeah. So I guess that's kind of what I asked in the beginning. Is it really just about repetition of that every time? And it sounds like that's
No,
what,
yeah, to notice the root of every imagined problem is this sense of a location having become real again.
right. Yeah.
And the moment that you see that, you can go, oh, I'm just going to drop that. I'm going to let it be. What problems can you have now? Is even the safety issue something you want to present to me as a problem here now?
No.
And it's not bypassing, is it? It's being truthful now.
No, and when the safety issue arises, it's never, actual danger. It's just perceived danger, and then that's seen, and then I take whatever action I need to take, and then, it's fine. But certain things get stickier, and there's like more time in the mental looping, and then I catch it. This is just a catch and release game.
What you've just said to me, is that true?
I mean, it can't be true. I can't ever leave this.
Yeah.
It just feels, it's just it's the feeling, it's
So
the illusion.
every time you think you've caught something and then have to release it, you can just go, I'm not playing with that. Some thoughts come up. You seem to get lost in illusion again. I have to find my way back out again. What happens if you just step back from that and say, I'm not playing that game anymore?
Mhm.
When I did that, I only had to do it once more afterwards, and it never happened again.
Wow. That's wonderful.
It's not a problem I can have, or you, right? Or any of us. We're not getting caught in illusion. Infinite formless consciousness does
It
not get caught in illusion.
feels like I've done the stepping out and saying no on multiple occasions. Um, but maybe it just requires more.
Are you experiencing who you really are as you step out of that? And you're not being a stepper, right? As someone who's stepping in and out. Where is your mind? Where is illusion? Can you point to it?
No.
Can you even find such a thing as illusion?
No, there's just a image thought that there's something and a sensation, maybe tension in my head. So an image that it's happening in my head.
So an image, a thought, a sensation. So, no big deal, right?
Right. Yeah. And there's some belief that I need to be in formlessness in a
So
different way.
you make no attempt to get back to formlessness, and you'll be instantaneously there. You can try it, right? Next time this seems to happen, I seem to need to get back to my real self. But I know that that can't actually be something that I can do. I never came out of it. Therefore, I will do nothing because I can do nothing and watch
Yeah.
what changes.
And then there's a thought that's like, oh, yay, I did it. And then it's like, okay, I see that thought too.
Don't claim ownership of victory or failure.
Right.
I didn't manage to free myself. I can't even claim that. Free myself from illusion, right?
Yeah, it's the same one that has the story, that believes this story that it's been failing all this time and seeking all this time, that
Which is
then wants to
only,
claim the prize.
only a thought rattling around in a head somewhere in the universe.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Yeah, it's so clear from here.
And when it's not clear, do nothing about it. Don't try to get back to clarity.
Yeah, just allow it to be seen.
Yeah, because that's all you can do anyways, see.
Yeah, I think I've heard you say, we're not even directing our attention. Is
Mhm.
that right?
Yep, not
And
even
then,
doing that.
right. And then there's other teachers that say that's all you have is where you direct your attention. So either it's formless or
Sometimes you'll hear me say that too. But here now, this instruction is better for you that you're not even playing with attention. You're just here. Wherever attention goes, it goes. It's nothing to do with you. Not your business.
yeah, that's more freeing than I'm in charge of the attention.
Oh, that's a heavy job. Yeah.
I know. Well, that's when that's said as a teaching is like it's all on you, buddy. It's you got to put your attention in the right place.
Says the imaginary separate self.
Yeah.
Sitting with that, right? Just letting that you're not even doing attention. Just sitting with that for the next few days. See what happens. Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So let's see if we can make the interpretation work with Sonia, and then we will come. If we can't, I will switch off the interpretation. We'll have to do it the old-fashioned way. So let's go to Sonia first and see if we can make it work. When you're ready, Sonia.
Hola.
Wonderful. Olga, can you say something? See if we can.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Hey, we can hear.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
great.
Okay,
Vamos allá.
wonderful. We'll come to Sonia at last.
Ok.
Please go ahead.
Bueno, hola a todos, hola Helen.
Hola.
Em, bueno, esta antigua compañera que ahora ha hablado me ha removido un poco lo mío y pareciera que yo lo que quiero que me confirmes, Helen, que es así, porque me cuesta pensar en la situación en la que yo estoy, que no tengo problemas y que no tengo que hacer nada. Desde
Un
hace,
momentito, por favor.
sí, sí.
I would like you to confirm that if it's true that in the situation I am in now, I don't have any problem because I'm not able to feel it that way.
Okay, so let's have a look and see what you really are. What do you find when you look for yourself? Let's have a look together now and see.
Siento como un ser que se va ampliando y no tiene límites.
I feel a being that's expanding and has no limits.
Pero a la vez siento que hay algo que me atrapa y me hace volver aquí al cuerpo,
At the same time, I feel there's something that catches me and returns me back to the body.
porque siento que mm, lo que estoy viviendo ahora es como el apego más grande y más terrorífico al que me podría enfrentar, ¿no?
Now I am facing the highest attachment I could face.
Es quedarme sin dinero y estoy sin dinero. Y sé que la vida me ha traído hasta aquí, hasta experimentar lo que es no tener dinero por el miedo que le tengo.
And is to run out of money. And now I am out of money. I'm run out of money. And I know that life has bring me here just to experience this fear.
So let's look at who you really are, and I want you to tell
Ujú,
me what I want you to tell me from your real being, can
mm,
you run out of anything? Is there anything outside of you separate to you?
mm.
Is
Es
money
como que no hay nada fuera de mí. Ah,
There's nothing outside me.
is money inside of you or outside of you then?
desde mi ser expandido es- está dentro. Está dentro como lo está una mesa, como lo está un árbol.
From my expanded being, it's inside, as a table or a tree is.
So is money any different to you then? Is money different to you?
Desde,
What is money made of?
ya, wow,
Wow, indeed.
cómo me cuesta, puedo ver en cualquier otro objeto que está, que su naturaleza es conciencia, pero en el dinero me cuesta más.
It's harder for me to see money as awareness. I can do that with other objects, but not with money.
So from the consciousness, this real being, can it be harder for you? Or is that an old idea?
Es una vieja idea, pero es tanto el terror que siento, lo veo en mi madre y lo veo en mis tíos, es algo terrorífico el no tener dinero. Entonces, este terror me hace pues sentir terror.
It's an old idea. It was also in my mother and family, and it makes me feel so much terror.
So can you see that this is not actually about money? This is about the idea that something can be hard for you to overcome.
Sí,
So is that
sí.
true? Can there be anything that's hard for you, the consciousness? This has become very big because we think it's about the money. And it was the same in my life too, completely the same. But I had to realize it wasn't about the money. It was about an idea that something was difficult for me to overcome. It's something inside we need to look at. Yeah? Nothing can be difficult for you, the infinite consciousness, presence.
Mm.
And we hold on to this idea that it's easy to let go here, but not here. And that's not true for you. You are the infinite, unlimited power behind the whole universe. And you are showing up all of these ways as all of these bodies here, as money, as tables, as houses, planets, everything. What is difficult for you? What can be difficult? Is there anything that you cannot overcome as your real being?
No,
So when your mind says, this is really difficult, you say, no, no, not today. I'm not playing this game, right? Yeah? Your mind will say, yes, but you have to solve this problem. It's very serious. And it feels serious.
se siente serio. De todas maneras, siento como la vida o mi ser, ¿no? Está haciendo, me estoy haciendo ver un momento. Es como cada vez lo tengo más claro, la energía no me permite que yo, cuerpo separado, vaya a solucionar, ni siquiera a pedir, ni a buscar trabajo, es como la energía me mantiene aquí quieta en casa
One moment.
para que acabe de confiar.
It's becoming more and more clear that energy is keeping me at home. It's not allowing me to move in search of a work. Energy is doing that for me to trust.
Does energy affect you, the infinite consciousness?
No, qué fácil es, qué fácil se ve cuando ahí me coloco, ¿no?
It's clearly seen from there.
So you have to be more interested in what's real for you. What does it mean to be consciousness? Than to play with these old ideas, right? It's just a habit to go back to thinking as a someone, as a separate being, especially in areas like money or job or
Wow.
whatever it is for us.
Sí,
But you
sí,
remember who you are now, right? I want you to write down on a piece
sí.
of paper after satsang, I am infinite and unlimited, and nothing is impossible for me. Yeah. I am infinite and unlimited, and nothing is impossible for me. And you look at that piece of paper every day. Yeah.
Yo como persona no tengo que hacer nada.
Me as a person, I don't have to do anything.
You know, I've never actually found a person ever. Never spoken to a person. Lots of love. Thank you.
Thank you. Gracias, Helen. Gracias, Olga.
Thank you, Olga.
Gracias.
And we will finish with Sonia.
Hi, Helen.
Hi.
Bueno, me he alegrado mucho que el tema del satsang de hoy sea el deseo, eh, porque esta tarde tomé acción, materializar un pequeño deseo.
I'm happy that the topic today was desire because this afternoon I took action in manifesting a desire.
Llevo tiempo disfrutando mucho, trasladándome por la ciudad en bicicleta eléctrica alquilada de la ciudad. Em, em, Voy al lado del mar eh, y noto que mi alma se siente muy feliz y la vibración se eleva. Y sé que este deseo es de el ser, como has dicho.
I am very happy and I enjoy very much cycling with a bicycle, moving around the city and close to the sea. And when I do that, myself feel expanded and I know it's a desire from the self.
Finalmente decidí comprar mi propia bicicleta y encontré una tienda muy cerca de casa, una bicicleta muy buena y muy rebajada.
So finally, I decided to buy my own bicycle, and it's a very good one, and it was very cheap.
Y esta misma tarde fui a cerrar el trato y me sentía muy feliz. Pero en un determinado momento entró el pensamiento, el viejo pensamiento.
This afternoon, I was going to close the deal, but then an old thought came.
eh, y comenzó a hacer cálculos eh, de lo que yo tenía, de lo que iba a salir, y me empezó a decir que me empezó a hacer sentir culpable y comencé a sentir miedo, indecisión, y al mismo tiempo otra voz me decía, lo mereces, esto es bueno para ti.
So there was this thought that was doing calculations, and I started feeling guilty. And then there was this other voice that was saying, "That's good for you. You deserve it."
Yeah.
Finalmente, a pesar de la reacción corporal, porque había un malestar, finalmente saboteó ese momento bonito, pero no me importó porque estaba viendo que había una parte que me decía, lo mereces, y otra parte que decía, no, eres irresponsable. Y Esto viene de desde siempre, desde pequeñita. Y quería, por favor, si puedes comentar algo.
So I was hearing the two voices, the one that says you don't deserve it and you are not responsible, and the other one that said that's something good for you. And this comes from the past, and I would like you to comment on something on this.
What happens if you don't listen to either one? To the positive voice or the negative voice? What happens then? What if you don't have to choose?
Observo ambas voces.
I listen to both voices.
Listening is okay, but not believing that you have to choose, right?
Eso es, no escojo ninguna de las dos porque recuerdo que el pensar que lo merezco es una reacción también de la propia mente.
I don't choose any of them because if I think I deserve it, it's also a mind reaction.
Your body is going to buy the bike or it won't. And it did. That's it. And if the body moves to take action to do this, it's meant to be. And it will be nothing but good. And it's a different way of living as the old sense of self falls away. If this is supposed to happen, it will. And if it does, it's totally okay. And even sometimes as you're riding the bike, the mind is saying, you don't deserve this, but you're having so much fun anyway, right? And then later mind will say, maybe you do deserve this. And you're still having fun.
Sí, es un viejo patrón. He podido ver que es un viejo patrón del no merecimiento, de sentir culpa por ser feliz, por sentirme bien.
I've seen it's an old pattern to feel guilty for feeling happy, for feeling good.
Yep. My mind, if I could find where my mind was, it would still be feeling guilty about everything, really. But it's just not so important anymore. And there's just more capacity to let it do what it's doing, the mind. And you enjoy your life anyway.
Y trata de confundir. Veo que trata de generar confusión entre lo que deseo y lo que ella me dice.
It's trying to create confusion between what I desire and what she says.
Can you be confused?
En algún momento he cometido graves errores.
At certain points, I've made important mistakes.
Have you? Have you ever made a mistake?
Malas decisiones. Una mala decisión.
Bad choices.
Can you prove to me that you've ever made a choice, good or bad? Where is the person that makes these choices?
Esto es confuso porque esa decisión la tomé como la decisión de comprar la bici.
It's confusing because I made that decision as the decision of buying the bike.
Did you? Or did the body hand over some money and walk away with a bike?
Sí,
No decision in that, no person in that. Just what was going to happen happened. Mind says, I made a decision. But did that happen? The infinite consciousness wants to feel free and alive and excited. And one of the ways that that's going to show up in our life is riding this bike. It has to happen. There's no person in the middle of that, no separate being. You can't prove to me you made a decision today. Mind thinks it made a decision. But it never happened. No decision arose. A feeling came. This is what's going to happen. And a thought said, I made a decision. But it's just a feeling and a thought, belonging to nobody in particular.
pero aquí me surge una duda. En esa anterior decisión de hace 1 año y medio, que fue con unas consecuencias terriblemente negativas, yo esa decisión la tomé desde la alegría de querer prosperar.
A year ago, I made that decision from the joy and the desire to expand, but it had negative consequences.
Y salió muy mal, en teoría.
It went really wrong.
So I want to give you a question to work with over the next few days. Next time I see you, I want you to tell me the answer to the question, okay? Well, actually, two questions. Two questions. Did I really make a decision? And did this thing really go wrong? Am I really sure that this went wrong? You understand the questions?
Sí.
I want you to really find out, did this go wrong actually? Stay with this question, right? Next few days.
Sí, lo haré.
Okay. Thank
I
you.
will.
Gracias.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Epic satsang today, nearly 2 hours. Sorry, folks, but it was all so good. I couldn't stop. Wonderful. Thank you all for being here today in satsang, and just love the sharing and the bravery and the courage. Thank you. Namaste.
Gracias.
Thank you, Helen.
Gracias.